Evangelicals are those who have gone through the deconstruction process, and they would say that they are no longer evangelical Christians. So it's a small group of people who have walked away from evangelical beliefs, from their churches, from their communities, and they no longer identify as evangelical or as Christians. And there are a few things that have come up quite regularly in terms of the questions and experiences that they've encountered. Experiences within the church, such as church abuse, that's very common. Toxic cultures, and they see the inconsistency between how a Christian ought to be and then practice on a Sunday or through the week, and they're like, wow, these two things, they don't seem to go together. So how do I intellectually, how do I existentially reconcile those two things? Well, I'm just with a bunch of hypocrites, so it shows me that this isn't real, this isn't true, and they check out and they leave. For others, there could be questions there around 4 different areas that Scott McKnight identifies in his work on deconstruction. And what he's found is that those who have questions, such as questions on God and science, God in the Old Testament, hell and scriptural reliability, if there aren't spaces in which they can explore those questions, then again, they're met with this, it creates a tension within themselves, and they think, well, the Christian faith isn't credible and it's not existentially satisfying, and so they just start to walk away and they leave. So there are a number of reasons and a number of experiences. They mainly revolve around church abuse, big apologetics, questions, and also questions to do with how does my faith impact my day-to-day life, my workplace? How do those two things mutually inform one another? How do I be a Christian in the workplace? And again, where there isn't the opportunity to learn how am I a Christian on a Monday morning in a science lab, or how am I a Christian as a journalist in this particular field of social sciences, then again, it just starts to disintegrate, and there isn't this kind of congruence that you have between what you believe to be true and how we act and how we live that out. So if they aren't seeing that in the church, and they aren't able to integrate those things in their own personal lives, then that leads many to kind of walk away and just say, well, this was never true in the first place, was it?